All right. Well, hey, in the morning, Cumuloville, coming at you live, at least until it hits YouTube, from the Shadow of Cheyenne Mountain in FEMA Region 8, where we're, like I said, we're expecting 13 inches of snow to land about an hour away from me. So if the power goes out, you will now know why. And it's weird to be happening on the last day of April. But hey, given that, I'm Will Stroh. My 9-year-old tells me that it's Fortnite update time. So if you're listening to Epic Games, please reach out to your local sales rep and let's get you going on Cumulo. And speaking of Qumulo, since it is the last Thursday of the month, that can only mean one thing, which is CS Webinar Thursday. Woo woo! We need some air horns or something to squeeze here. Let's see if we can get those in the budget. Today we're going to be doing some replication action, but we're also going to be adding the Google Cloud Fund into the mix here. And joining me as always in the Q&A Chamber of Horrors is Michael Birds Don't Exist Bird. So be sure to hit him up with all your hard questions. Actually, I only give him easy ones because he'll pass the hard ones on to me, and I don't want to deal with that. So, all right. Well, let's hop into the mix of things. If you were with us last month, we were doing replication within the cloud. And that was originally supposed to be replication to the cloud. But due to the fact that I tried to get a circuit added the week of a IT lab update, that did not happen. So we were just doing it within the cloud itself and not actually going outside the cloud. This time around, we do have it going up from my lab network. I will warn you in advance. My lab network, I inadvertently put a 1 gig link on it. So after you include the painful slowness of the VPN network, it's super slow. You guys should not see this in your actual life because ideally you're not running production on a single node simulator on a 1 gig link. If you are and it's working for you, please let us know how you managed to do that because that would be outstanding. Alrighty, let's jump into the fray here. There should be a slideshow button here somewhere. Sweet. All right, so failover considerations. In and of itself, nothing has changed from the cloud to on-prem. And that's the nice thing about Qumulo is anything you do on-prem, you're going to be able to do on the cloud side of it too. It's the exact same software. You got upgrades you want to do them, cool. Upgrade the same image. It's awesome. It works. So that being said, a couple things to keep in mind for any failover situation. One is you want to pre-create shares and exports out there. We'll take a look at Qumulo Sync here in a second. If you are doing any sort of snapshot locking, you're going to have policies out there because snapshot locking requires the policy to be set. Next month, I believe we're doing snapshot best practices as a refresher, and we'll cover snapshot locking in there. But if you need to do it before, you don't want to wait 30 days, that's totally understandable. By all means, reach out to us, and we can get you going on snapshot locking if you don't want to read the docs. Also, whenever possible, we highly recommend setting your source to read only. Couple of really good reasons for that. Most of them all fall back to you want people to stop writing to your source side before you do a failover. That said, when the local power company comes along and cuts your fiber line to your production site, obviously you don't have opportunity to set things read only there first. So we throw the when possible in there as a little caveat. So if you can do it, great. It'll help things in the long run. But if not, obviously it's the way things work. All right. So as we talked about, export shares, policies, all of that good stuff, quotas involved in there too. Those do not automatically get created on the target. If you've been using Qumulo replication for any amount of time, you've realized this. If this is news, if replication is new to you, or if you are new to Qumulo, this is a key point to keep in mind. There are some companies who will copy those shares and exports over for you. Though that works great in an active passive setup. Qumulo is an active setup. And as such, what that comes down to is I can have on cluster 1, I can have a directory of /SMB, and on cluster 2, I can have a directory of /SMB. Those can be entirely separate from each other. They can be at different locations. They can have different directory structures to them, but they can also have the same name. So we don't want to make the assumption that everything from cluster 1 automatically gets mirrored over to cluster 2. We don't want to do that. So those are things you're going to have to keep in mind on how you want to set things up in advance. What I have seen customers do is they will create a directory structure. Let's create one real quick here just for grins. Hopefully we can see this. Let me see if I can't make this text a little bit bigger. What is it? Shift plus, I believe. Nope. Nope. That gives me a plus sign though. That's cool. Let's do this. Edit session on good old burger dog here. And we'll do text a little bit bigger. All right. Cool. So what a lot of customers will end up doing, and this is kind of a precursor for what we're going to see here, but let's say Leela is my source and Bauxite is my destination. What a lot of customers can end up doing is they will create a structure such as SMB here, and we'll do this over on Bauxite as well. And then within this SMB structure, they will then have, as you can see, we're empty here. They will then make not Leela. They will then make a directory for the machine there. So when they do the failover, they're simply talking to the SMB portion of it. That works for some folks. That doesn't work for others. They will oftentimes, the times you'll see this is when folks direct this over to a DFS. And so DFS will point directly to SMB and then write things as needed there. Whatever works best in your environment, but the main takeaway, as I said, is we do not create that stuff in advance. Secondly, we have a tool called Qumulo Sync. There's the GitHub address for it right there. I don't know why I popped back in here because I'm just going to bring it back up. One of our CSEs has been keeping this up to date out here. So it is pretty straightforward nowadays. In the past, it was a little kind of dicey, but now it tells you everything what it's actually going to do. And the other thing this is great for, we covered this, 3 months ago, I want to say. The other thing this is great for is if you do want a point in time, quote unquote, backup of all your shares, exports, quotas, and that sort of thing, you can use Qumulo Sync to do that as well and just do the save only option on it. And that will go through and copy all that down for you. So should the unfortunate day arise that someone hacks into your box or you have a bad actor, however you want to do it, they wipe out a bunch of stuff, you can just go back to your settings here and reload things back up. So it is a very useful tool. Highly recommend you play around with that. For the most part, it's super simple to set up. You're just pointing it at a cluster and give it a username and password. So in our case here, we would use that to transfer our shares and exports to the other side. Lastly, and this really dates back to the tape drive days where folks would say, oh yeah, I need to keep 10 years of tape drives, and then they never actually test their backups on there, and it turns out that it doesn't work when they need it. Test your admin access, please. We have seen at least a handful of customers in the past month. I don't know why, but it seems to happen in April. But a handful of customers who don't have admin access to their boxes. It makes things a little difficult. So test that in advance. Make sure you're using the right password. It's a silly thing, but it happens more often than I'd like to say. Hand in hand with that, make sure end user access is there. So because I'm not copying everything over config wise, if I have a situation where, let's say I'm using straight up SMB, cluster 1 is joined to my domain, and I never actually join cluster 2 to my domain, replication will be more than happy to work for you. If you're to look at the ACLs out there, it's going to have a bunch of SID identifiers, but it won't be able to map them to a name if I never actually join it to a domain. So make sure that takes place too. We have seen that happen a handful of times where I think it's simply a case where people think that it's going to do a mirror of that as opposed to replicate the data, just the data. In which case, that's fine. It's a misunderstanding, and it's a easy fix 9 times out of 10 as long as you have the AD password. But it is something to keep in mind. All right, we covered replication modes a little bit ago when we talked about our replicating it within the cloud. There are 3 modes. Got them up here on the screen. The big one most folks end up doing is snapshot plus continuous. Again, if you've been a frequent subscriber of the webinars, you probably know this, but for the new folks, snapshot plus continuous will take a snapshot at designated times as well as, and transfer that, as well as transfer the continuous snapshots, which effectively is marketing's fancy way of saying every minute out there. And so with that, that's really where we recommend most folks go if they don't want to go the continuous route. For our purposes today, because I am on this 1 gig network and whatnot, I just have everything set up as continuous, and you can laugh at how dreadfully slow it is. But when in your situations, I would recommend a snapshot plus continuous if the business need calls for it. If it is something where you don't need that continuous aspect, then obviously at that point, snapshot only is going to be the way to go. And you can relive your days of 1998 where you do take your backups at midnight, 6 a.m., and noon, and 6 p.m. Outstanding. It works that way. It's great. All right. As we said early on, our methodology does not differ here. Cloud, on-prem, cloud, doesn't matter which way you want to go with it. It's still Qumulo under the hood, and it still works exactly the same. You'll read only the source side, you'll make the target side writable, reverse the relationship, reconnect. Bingo, bang, boom, you are done and good to go. With the, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was a good time, but we've got a Q&A question.
We do have a Q&A question. Are there options for immutability on the replication target objects? So by default, snapshots are immutable. You can't change the snapshot. What you can do to the snapshot by default is delete it. So I guess that's, I don't know, maybe it's immutable. I'd have to talk to my brother who's PhD in English to figure out exactly the definition there. But more where this ends up going towards is, can I lock things on the destination side or on the target side? And the answer to that is yes, absolutely you can. With snapshot locking, it is a process to go through, because what you're going to have to do is, let me bounce out of here real quick. If we take a look at our, this is my quote unquote on-prem cluster. You will have, for each of these snapshots out here, I don't think I can actually dig into it. Not just let me delete it. Let me see. Do I have a, here's what we can do. So each of these, we're going to hop over to QSH. This will be easier. And because I can never remember all of the replication commands, if we take a look at these guys, let's do, I believe this one should do it for us. Each of these replications is going to have a replication ID with it. Now, if you were to go off and look in your replication logs, you would see this ID out there. Maybe that's a good one for some point in the future. What do we got that's actually running? Anything? Let's see here. Leela over to Bauxite. That's webinar 1. So this one should be Bauxite. There we go. So let's take a look just for grins here. So if you go over to var log Qumulo, that's where we keep all the Qumulo logs. And the one we're interested in is going to be this guy. So what you can do is, whoops, not that. Let's grab him again. So in this round here, we're not actually transferring anything. So it's basically a null op out here. It opens up the job and then cancels it off again. We can see if we get anything at the tail end of this or at the front end of it. So here we're creating a relationship and moving things along. So here we initiate the job, and I think what we're going to see out here is just a bunch of, there we go. So here's where we actually transferred things. Why are we showing you all this? I totally forget. We're talking about immutability, but maybe this is probably a good talk to go into at some point and looking at parsing out logs. What you need to do, if we go back to the actual ask, is you'll get this ID here. Where'd my mouse go? There it is. You'll get this ID here that you get from the QQ replication rigmarole. This guy. You'll end up getting these IDs, and you'll associate that ID is going to be the same on the source and destination side. So what you'll do on the destination side is go through and then lock all of these snapshot IDs. Because what's happening on the source side is we'll do it by policy. And then what you'll do is you'll create another policy on the destination side, but then you have to go through and lock the jobs that are coming over. So it is an extra step in that case. It's not something where simply because I lock it on the source side, it's automatically going to be locked on the destination side. Now, again, that rolls back to the fact that the Qumulo is in an active relationship. And you can be in a case where you want the snapshots locked on the source side, but not the destination, or vice versa. So we don't want to make any assumptions there. And as we do the failover, you'll also see it's really a step-by-step process out there to do it. And a lot of that is so we don't make assumptions and we're actually forcing you to think about what's taking place so that you know what's going on. We do partner with a company. I'm going to slaughter the name. It's got Y's and U's in it. What they do is they do offer a solution that does automatic failover, give back, and all that jive. So if that's something that you're interested in, we can certainly point you in that direction. Reach out to the Slack channel, and we can certainly make that connection for you guys. But by and large, it is something where it is going to be point to point to point, and want to make sure we know what we're doing out there. All right, total train of thought lost, but that's okay. Let's pop back in here because I think the next one is this great AI image I made. Yes, Enter the Cloud 2, Failover. I don't know what these robots fighting down here are all about, but it's pretty cool. I think this guy's got a camera of servers. I don't know. But I love AI for making images for me. All right, so let's actually jump into the mix here. Yes, I did make you all look at that just so you could see my cool image. All right, I have webinar 1. This guy is my GCP host out here. I'm going to be coming off of Leela here. I did seed a replication to begin with, just so I can show you the pain I'm dealing with here, going over a 1 gig network. We'll go ahead and make a second one just for grins. We're going to call it data 2. My target IP address is not actually going to be this one because I'm having to go through a VPN session. So let's grab that guy. We will go to, let's do node 2. See what happens here. You would not need to do that in your case, most likely, unless you're in a similar situation that I am in. Presume in your guys' case, everything would be on the same network. It's just a little inconsistency with what we had to deal with here. All right, so we now have this guy waiting authorization. So we've discovered one thing. We're going to go ahead and authorize. Absolutely, do it. We'll bop back to the source. We're going to refresh this here because it's not realizing that's an updated IP address. And as it comes to me, there we go. So here you can laugh at this nice 15.9 kilobit. So we're going ahead and doing our speed, ever so speedy VPN to VPN over 1 gig replication here. And this guy will be moving along. Now let's take a look at our other friend out here, because just so we know that goes. The one we pre-staged out here is this data to data. So let's take a look at this guy. If we want to fail over, so right now we're sitting here with Leela as the source. Let's go ahead and get out of there. Whoa, exot. Whoa, all sorts of words are typing out here. Alrighty. So right now, I got Leela mounted over here. I have this data directory that I've been saving things into. And we'll just go ahead and touch foo file. All right, in a minute's time, that should get kicked over to where we're going. We're going to webinar. So let's go into that guy. And sorry, it's already passed over here. Cool. So that's already kicked over. Just to be confirmed, yep, it is 1523. Awesome. If anyone knows the person who updated Ubuntu so it now does not do military time, please give them my firm disgust. All right. So let's go ahead and do a failover out here. What we're going to do first is we'll come over to the Leela side, which is where we're at. We'll go ahead, set source read only. Sure, sounds awesome. Now both sides are going to be read only here. And just to confirm that, touch foo file 2, permission denied. Pardon me. And let's hop into data. All right. So we're looking good there. Now what we're going to do is first step is to go ahead and make the destination side writable. So we come over to the destination side, make target writable. Pardon me. Again, it's going to walk you through here. They'll say this is read only, read only. Now we're read only, writable, and reverted. That revert is just moving back to the last snapshot that took place, which in this case was my 924 one. So we're going to do that. Again, read only, writable. And if memory serves, I believe we have to remount this thing. So we will go ahead and do that real quick. Should be this guy. It helps if you spell it correctly. If you don't, then you're going to have problems. Okay. Cool. And let's go over here and see what we got. Oh, interesting. What's going on here? This is why I love live demos. Let's take a look at our NFS exports. Oh, we're mapping route to guest. That's not going to work. So let's go ahead and take that one off there. No mapping. Save. Work now. Hey, we're in good shape. All right. So security. That was what was that step 3 we were supposed to take a look at out there in the slide deck? Make sure all your users can still talk to things. We did not do that, and now we got bit by it. All right. So we now have foo file 2 over here. Awesome. Let's go ahead and see where things are at. So let's come back over here to replication land. We are read-only on Leela. We are writable on webinar, but as you can see from this little arrow with slash through it, not doing anything. So what we're going to do in this case is, let's say we've done the failover at this point, and we got things mounted up. We're writing out there. It's been 2 weeks. Our problem on the source side, we patched the fiber cable that the electric company cut through. And so now we're going to go ahead and reverse this relationship so we can get webinar being my new source talking back to Leela. So we'll just do here, reverse relationship. Again, it's going to make my source now the writable one for webinar one. My target is now Leela. And you'll note we're still not doing anything. We're just flipping the roles here. Now it wants me to give an IP address over here. This is the same as any relationship setup. The upshot, here's the secret sauce. I only have one node on this cluster, so it makes it really easy to choose one. So what we're going to do, and this is actually going to fail if I use that one. So again, because I'm going through VPN land here. Oh, what happened, Tailscale? Where'd my thing go? Well, this could be entertaining. Okay, let's take a look. Let's see here. What are we mounting? Do we have it mounted? It's webinar. That's box site. We can try it. It's not going to work. It should fail out miserably. But let's do it and see what happens. So it'll be fun for that. Should say cannot connect to it. Yeah, it's going to sit over here and wander. So what we will do in this case is let's get a let's see here. Let's pop back over there. And dun dun dun. Alrighty, and let's get this thing re-authenticated. Grab this guy over here. And with any luck, we should be getting an IP address here shortly. Come on, tailnet. All right. Cool. So let's see if it gave me one up here. Okay, that's gonna be a problem then. I will not know who that 100 IP address is. Let me see here. Well, rest assured, if I knew what my IP address was, I could certainly flip this guy over. So, as with any good live demo, something breaks miserably, and we're going to troubleshoot that guy. At the end of the day, I'm not sure I want to force you guys to watch me troubleshoot Tailscale connectivity in my lab. But what you'd end up doing, what we can do, let's just do this without the VCP side of it, because that's thrown into a mix, is we can do our box site guy over here. And let's see, do I have any other ones that would be on that? I don't. Okay. You know what? Let's try something real quick here. It hasn't expired. I don't know it wandered off on me. My guess is if I restart this thing, it'll be magically working. And I don't know what that's going to do to the webinar. So, you know what? We're just going to keep rolling with this. let's do it like we would over here. Again, you guys won't run into that problem because you're not going to be having to go through VPN hookups like that, ideally. If you do, then just make sure you keep your IP addresses there handy. All right, so in this case, let's just do it without making source read only. It's not going to affect anything in this case, but it'll be fun. It's one less step we need to do. So what we'll do here is make target writable. Now, in this situation, as this comes back up, you'll note both of these are writable. So if you don't go through the motions of setting the source read only first, this is what we call a classic split brain scenario where I can have people writing to this side of it, the source side, as well as people writing to the target side. And then I can end up. Let's get Bauxite mounted. I wonder if he's mounted yet. Let's get out of here. He is. Yeah. So I got Bauxite mounted over here. Let's go into the data directory. This will be fun. So we got foo file over here. Great, because it was replicating. Awesome. Now we're going to make, let's just touch a file over here, Bauxite foo file. And that was really important data. Echo really important data. Yeah, super important stuff. All right, now let's hop back over to Leela. And over here, now I'm not mounted, or now I got to remount apparently, unless we have the same situation. Let's double check. User mapping, nope. Read only, nope. Okay, so just simple remount. See who we had going there. This guy. Oh, hey, I wonder if this is my IP address. Let's just see it real quick. Did the magically start working? No, it still gave me a 10 dot address. That's not going to work. Okay. Oh, wait. Oh, hey, here we go. We got a whole bunch of things here. So apparently, if you just click around enough times, you can get Tailscale to work for you. Cool. So now we got two things in flux here. Let's finish up our split brain scenario first, and then we'll go back to that land. So now we're going to come back in here, mount Leela back up, and it should be read write at this point. Nope, still read only. What's going on here? Am I trying to go somewhere else? It couldn't be. Who am I? I'm root. Okay, we'll worry about that one at some later stage. Unless we just did something here. Oh, because we made it read on. Oh, because this thing went through. So let's go ahead and refresh this and make sure everything is looking hunky dory. Yeah, Leela's read only here. So what we'll do is come over here, and for this thing is so confused right now. This is outstanding. Okay, so let's focus on webinar to Leela, which is this guy. This thing's really discombobulated. We're going to go ahead and reverse this relationship, or reconnect this relationship. I'm sorry. So we've already reversed it. So webinar is our source at this point. Leela data is our destination. We're going to reconnect this relationship. It'll keep this read only and reverted. Yes. And it will go through, and this one is just confused. So we're going to ignore that one. If we shrink the screen, much like if you turn up the radio in your car, there we go. Problem is solved. Goes away. Awesome. Okay, now let's take a look over here. See what we got. If we could type, that would be outstanding. So there's my foo file 2 that came over from the destination side, which is now my source side, which is the webinar side of things. So again, if we come over here to webinar land, let's just take a look through Capacity Explorer, go into data, there's foo file 2. So now he got copied over there. So again, there's nothing here that's different than doing things via on-prem land. The biggest concern in your books as Qumulo admins is twofold. One, it's going to be making sure shares and exports match between the two of them if you need to do that failover operation. If you are in a situation where, let's do this here. Let's break this replication. Let's do this guy. Sure, let's just delete relationship. That should revert everything back to some state of affairs. I got my ghost relationships out here. Let's delete these guys too because they're going to some bogus IP address. At this point, without that out there we go. Without the relationships being out there, again, I'm in a situation where both sides are active. And that's the biggest concern to keep in mind is both sides are always going to be active until you force it one way or the other. As such, the other thing to keep in mind, if I come out here, so here I have this, if we go to Explorer, I have data and data 2 out here, and data 2 came from my Leela host over here. We did data replicated data 2. I effectively have a copy of this data sitting over here, which I don't have on the source side. Now, do I need that on the source side? No, by no means do you. But again, it's something to keep in mind that if you start using these as active, you are going to have to set up those shares and exports and quotas and all that. If you want a strictly active passive connection, you can absolutely do that. And what I would recommend doing in that case, this is the only time I'm going to recommend doing this, is you would set up a replication from Slash, which will start copying all of this stuff over to the destination side. Normally, we'd try and stay away from doing Slash replications because you're limited to 16 threads by default out there, which is going to be 16 objects. And it'll go dreadfully slow. But and you could do it conversely, you could set up 4 jobs in this case, transfer those, delete all those jobs, and then just create one main job. Absolutely feasible to do that. And then what you'd do is just have that single replication going from source to destination. And after you get it seeded, it should go fairly quickly. But you'd go from source to destination, and then you just do the straight cut failover at that point. And the only thing you'd need to update would be any IP addresses. You could realistically keep the same names out there because it's not going to care about the name. It's going to do a lookup on that. But what you'd want to do at that point is just flip everything over in DNS and you're good to go on the destination side. So, for example, if I'm going, I don't know, I used to live on the East Coast. So if I'm going from downtown Roanoke over to the airport, for example, and let's say my downtown Roanoke side is my source side, airport side is my destination. And if I just want to do a clean cutover between the two of those, I would set up that Slash replication, boom, copy things over. Now, that's on-prem to on-prem. Let's say I'm going up to the cloud land. Let's, I don't know, let's go to Chicago with it. In that case, exact same thing. And a little more in this case, you could say, I want my cloud to be only cold storage, in which case it's great because then you can just replicate off the slash, push everything up there and not worry about it. And in those cases, it makes it really easy because then when you do need anything to bring down, the directory structure is already there. So that's one of the nice things that I would say the cloud side does supply to you is not having to, if you are looking for pure cold storage, it's great because you can just say, boom, I'm just going to replicate all this slash up there. I don't care how long it takes and be over and done with it. As a point of reference, we did have one customer, very large production company. They were moving, I want to say it was 2 petabytes up to the cloud, and they were able to do it over the weekend. So they were going from their, I want to say it was a New York data center up to an East Coast cloud. So it is one of those things where if you are in the right regions for everything, then you should be fine. Again, in my case, I got 1 gig networks and going from Washington State out to central US, I want to say, through multiple VPNs. So don't use my timelines here as any sign of this. So, all right. Well, I think I have rambled enough. We'll get this guy back up just so we can take a look at what's coming up here. Next month, we're going to be looking at snapshot best practices. There's a question out there. Can we please make recording of this? Absolutely. If you need to go to sleep at night, if you're fighting insomnia, by all means, this will get posted up to YouTube. Play that, and you will be out like a light. It'll be outstanding. Next month, we'll be looking at snapshot best practices. It is going to be on the 28th of May, which just so happens to coincide with Harambe. So if you're into gorillas, it will be the 10-year anniversary of Harambe's horrible death. After that, we're going to roll into summer school. These are going to be a little bit shorter versions of things. I always say that, and I ramble on for an hour. We're going to be looking at the simulator, which is the OVA. We're going to be looking at Nexus and more, which I think more actually means Qumulo alerts in this case. So if any of those whet your appetite, by all means, please show up. Keep an eye out on your channels. And with that, I would say if you see any talking dogs today, be sure to feed them tacos. And as it's coming up on Star Wars weekend, your local store may be carrying True Moo blue milk and the Grogu vanilla wafers. I'm totally not on the take from them, but if they would like to sponsor the webinars, True Moo, get in touch with me. We'll talk. All right, folks. I think that should do it. So go out there, be successful on this fine Thursday. Enjoy the last day of the month, and we'll see you in May. Take care.